Welcome back. You're still watching Channels Beam, and we have been discussing the security concerns, especially in the secondary schools in the northern part of the country. I'm now being joined by Olarinwaju Dolakbo, of course, whom I introduced earlier on the show. Dolakbo, thanks for coming on the program. Okay, we're just looking at this whole issue, about the schools that were attacked. If you look at it, it's now beginning to be one too many. Last year, we had some attacks. Last 2 years, we had some attacks. This year, it's happening. The students need a leeway to get away when these things are happening. What can be done in terms of, security measures for the students by the school authorities?
Well, I think first of all that the attacks on the secondary schools, it's a signal that the Boko Haram is getting desperate. So we can now, add schools to their targets. Initially, it used to be churches, and then it became churches and mosques, and now it's churches, mosques, and schools. Yeah. The truth of the matter is that the entire security situation in those states is beyond the capacity of the soldiers that are presently in place. In terms of numerical strength, we do not have enough soldiers to monitor all the schools. A place like Yobe has 64 schools, and we simply cannot deploy, battalions of soldiers to be stationed at each school. Because if you look at the modus operandi of the Boko Haram in recent times, they do not attack, in ones and twos. They attack in troops. The last attack, last week had them. They came in 11 Hilux vans. So you can imagine how many there would be that attack those places. So, it's not just an idea. It's not just to focus on the schools per se. Because you have many, if the schools are defended, then they will move on to something else. So there has to be an holistic, approach to the entire security situation in those three states where the Nigerian army has managed to contain them so far.
Okay, well, if you look at when you're speaking about holistic approaches now, there's this school of thought, of course, and then the Borno State governor is part of that school, that believe that our men are not well motivated and are not well armed. So in terms of holistic approaches now, how do we move from where we are to where we ought to be?
First of all, I think the Borno State governor, he may have said some truths, but what he said was out of line. You are the chief security officer of your state. Such a statement should not be made in public, first of all. However, and then, it also begs the question that how does he know that Boko Haram is more motivated or better equipped than the Nigerian army? I think he needs to explain that to Nigerians. However, looking at the numbers of the soldiers in the armed forces, we discover that we do not have up to 100,000 soldiers. And how many of them?
In the entire
Nigerian army, from all sources, we do not have up to 100,000 soldiers. So, and you have some on duty in Jos, you have some on duty in the Niger Delta, you have army formations everywhere, and these people also have to be there. So how many are being deployed in those three states? Yes, I agree with him because he said it, and 2 days after he said it, the Yobe State governor also made mention of it, that we need more soldiers in the north. We need more soldiers prosecuting that war. So I think the question of motivation is one that we cannot really sit here and decide. There's no way to look at the Boko Haram fighter and the Nigerian soldier and say this one is better motivated than this one. Of course, when it comes to weaponry in a guerrilla warfare, weaponry does not count. Whether or not the Nigerian army has more equipment, which I believe is the case, that we have more equipment than them, but you cannot deploy your weapons against an enemy you cannot see. So there should be a change of strategy in our approach to this security issue in the north presently. My
concern and concern of so many Nigerians is children. They're attacking children. What can school authorities do now? Just in wrapping up on, please be concise and brief. What do school authorities do? What can they do? So that when these things reoccur, they can, the students can have an escape route, or they can just be aware that something is happening. Just some sort of awareness to keep them at alert when these things happen.
Well, the truth is that one is not really an expert when it comes to these matters. However, we could sit here and say, shut down the schools until, the whole state of emergency is over. We could say so much else. But I think, it is important for us to protect those people who are part of the most vulnerable people in our society, because these are students who cannot defend themselves, and we cannot say that they should fight for themselves. The solution might be to draft more military soldiers to protect those places, particularly schools, particularly churches, particularly mosques, where these people might attack at any point in time. But the very nature of a guerrilla warfare is that they aim to strike fear in the hearts of everybody, and they try to attack irrationally. They try to attack, last week they attacked traders. then, you know, they attack schools and so on. So they try to attack any segment of society. So it has to be, you know, a part of a broad approach to the defense of our country across those 3 states.
Okay, just like I just think on drafting and more soldiers, we even have soldiers abroad in Darfur and in so many countries. I mean, if we don't have so much soldiers, I think we need to get more, draft more, conscript more into the Nigerian army, yes. And hope that this thing. But then on the issue of the number of how many soldiers we have, I mean, that's really, really very contestable to say that we have 100,000.
I mean, it was said as of March 2010, at the handing over of the Shehu Musa Yar'Adua barracks built 660 housing units. The then Chief of Army Staff, I think, his name is Dambazao, he said, the former Chief of Army Staff, he said that Nigeria has more than 90,000 soldiers. He said a little more than 90,000. So I'm even being generous by saying 100,000. If you go to nationmaster.com, other sources online say 62,000. But let's be generous and say we have 90,000 soldiers. So it's really, we do not have the numbers presently to combat Boko Haram.
Lakwa, thanks for your time. Thanks for sharing your thoughts with us on the program this afternoon.
The pleasure is mine.
I've been speaking with a security consultant, Dolakwa Olarewaju, and he's been telling us so many revealing things. We have to stop now, but we'll take a break, and when Channels Beam returns, we'll look at your comments that you have sent through our social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, and Google+, and then review the 5 most viewed videos on our YouTube channel for the past week. Join us right after this break.
If you want to know what's trending or you missed your favorite live shows, you can watch it all on our YouTube channel. Simply log on to www.youtube.com/channelsweb. Scroll down to your favorite program and click play. You can also view all uploaded videos by clicking on View All. Don't forget to subscribe and get the latest videos. If they are interesting, like them and be heard. Get connected with the Channels Television YouTube page. The news at your fingertips.
To watch both discussions, visit our website, it's channelstv.com, or YouTube channel, youtube.com/channelsweb. Thanks for sending your contributions. As a social media program, we will look at a selected few from Google+, Twitter, as well as Facebook, before reviewing the 5 most viewed videos on our YouTube channel for the past week.
Nigerians are still watching the video of President Goodluck Jonathan playing the talking drum, also known as gongo. We know this because that video emerged the 5th most viewed video in the past week. The 4th most viewed video is a report on the 29 students killed in a federal government college in Yobe. Members of the Boko Haram terrorist group attacked the school at night and destroyed lives and property. At number 3, men of the Nigeria police arrested 12 persons in connection to the Ejigbo women assault, which led to the death of a young female. 4 others have been declared wanted.
We've just formally declared them wanted. That itself is a strong investigative process in itself. When you declare a suspect wanted, it signifies your determination, your commitment to get at the suspect through all legal means available to you.
It is still shocking that a man who murdered his wife would call on God to rescue him from judgment. And perhaps that was the reason why the video of Mr. Arolo emerged at the number 2 spot. Mr. Arolo wept in tongues after he was sentenced to death for killing his wife.
We finished our prep around 10 o'clock.
The most viewed video shows one of the survivors of the Yobe attack recounting his ordeal.
The man started shooting the gun in
shooting everywhere.
Yeah.
Then
he shot me on my hand.
your hand
The bullet
swap your hand.
swabbed my hand and enter my stomach.
Your stomach.
Yeah, then my intestine come out.
There you go, some of the videos you viewed the most on our YouTube channel in the past week. Finally, Nigeria's government needs to look into aftercare support for people that have witnessed this carnage. Some of them may need professional help for post-traumatic stress reactions, depression, anger, or other traumatic-related mental health problems. Research has shown that 20% or more of people exposed to traumatic events typically develop clinically significant psychological problems. For the channel's web team, I am Victor Matthias. Thank you for watching, and until I see you next week, follow me on Twitter at Victor_MBIDI and the addresses showing on your screen.